presenter, Don Ezra Francois. Thank you for joining us.
You have been listening to the lunchtime edition of news. Our next major news is at 5 p.m. Remember to join us then.
From many distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean.
Welcome, brothers, welcome, sisters, welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up your telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything, any issues. You raise the topic, we speak about it. We only babble until you call. The number to call is 442-0175. 442-0175. And we're on Real FM 91.9, Sister Eyes FM 92.9. We're on YouTube and Facebook. We take calls. We read your comments on YouTube, Facebook, and you can also WhatsApp on Real FM numbers. So we want very interactive. We don't have much rules. We don't like rules. But we encourage people to be respectful and punch. It don't make sense wasting time. You have to say something, make your most important comment first. You could always call back, so you don't have to waste any time. Today, Russian, well, all of us in the world know by now Russia and Ukraine is at war. And President Zelensky, he thanked countries for condemning Russia as Russia tried to annex 4 other regions in Ukraine in Russian Federation. You're big and you're large. You just go and you take some section of Ukraine and you say that is Russia today. That is, really imperialistic. Russia refused to accept multilateralism. So 143 countries voted against Russia. But we have some abstention. I was looking and see Trinidad and Suriname in the Caribbean region, they abstain at the vote. It seems as though St. Lucia, some countries in the Caribbean was against too. St. Kitts, St. Lucia, some of them voted against. But you have 143 countries. I do not support Russia. That is imperialistic in nature. And if you are any one of the Caribbean countries, I believe based upon our history and our objection to imperialism, we have a right to support Ukraine. But in these matters, quite a lot have to do with the bilateral relation of some countries. So this is why Trinidad abstained. Solomon Islands, a number of them, Sierra Leone, a number of countries in Africa, they abstained too. But 143 countries condemn the actions of Russia. This action between Russia and Ukraine is bringing the world to the closest point of nuclear warfare. In the last 60 years, we had the Cuban crisis, the Cuban-Russian nuclear crisis. And today, the world could be on the brink of war. Well, all the predictions are nuclear war, there will be no winners, but there will be survivors. So any country initiate nuclear war, they expect that their country will be destroyed too. You have enough firepower in the world to destroy the world 2.5 times. But some people believe that they may be paralyzed before they fire all the nuclear weapons. They will poison the sea, poison the air, poison the land. We had an example in Japan, in Hiroshima and Kawasaki. People still are being born deformed who live in this area from World War II. And we had the Chernobyl nuclear crisis. And even animals in that area, they are getting sick and they are being born deformed. So nuclear weapon is nothing to joke with. But once you have this level of crisis, and Russia is a powerful country, and they're back against the wall, and the United States and Europe is on the other side, then you have war. But that is Russia. But we have Grenada too. We always have reasons for conflicts. And I believe that one of the reasons that people are going to war because there is not enough moderators, mediators, people on the side who wants to make peace. China, India, and Africa, they don't want peace. Each of them taking sides. If they had acted, I believe, as moderators, looking for peace, perhaps there is a way out. But at this stage, it seems as though we have to go down and destroy one another before there is peace. That is what happened in World War II. Over 60 million people died, and then they broke up peace. So we expect that. While that is going on, we in Grenada have to be careful, because the war in Russia affects us. The fallout from COVID-19 affects us. The recession in the world affects us. The increase in gas price affects us. And governments could intervene to absorb the shock for a while, but over a period of time it affects us. The Caribbean depends on tourism immensely. And as the war in Europe escalates, it could seriously affect the tourist trade in Grenada and the rest of the Caribbean. What is our source of income? We noticed during COVID-19, when tourism was affected and the activities in the St. George's University grind to a halt, farmers was not able to export fish, sauerkraut, cocoa, and nutmeg. So our economy was in serious trouble. The International Monetary Fund and other organizations, and the fact that we had a structural adjustment program, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, Dr. Good day.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah. Prior to the election, you saw a lot of noise about the health system in Grenada so bad, and it's crying on yesterday. All of a sudden, it's the voices that I'm here crying on yesterday. These things solved so quick, man. I find that problem solved very fast because nobody will cry so overnight. Just throw a appeal and everything just come good one time. But some people feel hypocrite in Grenada right now, man. Because all of a sudden, and nobody, anytime somebody criticize the government, nobody does criticize the government, you have to give them chance, but they all say that the man is not a magic man. But yeah, but during the campaign, he's a magic man. Because he says straight that he could stop sewage from coming to Grenada, he could stop road from collapsing in the sea. He said, the amount of things he said that he don't get any name because Jesus. Because he said he could do all these things on him, so now we're saying gain chance and they now come in and if they expect miracle, it's not that, it's what you say. You say could fix everything. That is what you are telling people, you know. So I don't know if some people didn't listen to the campaign, if some people just pretending they didn't listen, they get poor now, so they forget everything. Everything gets good, they start good, no about the healthcare system in Grenada again. I find that thing strange because all of a sudden this thing solved one time, they came to Pierre, have a nice day and have a good weekend.
Yes, Scholar, and I always like to hear your contributions. Well, it's not very strange, you know. It is a propaganda strategy to get your opponent to shut them out. One of the strategies in the first year of the National Democratic Congress, you're going to constantly hear their politicos and political activists saying they just come. It is a strategy to make you hush them up. Whether you want to accept that or not is Grenada, the telecommunication network is freedom, is liberalized in Grenada. Government give out over 30 licenses for radio station. Maybe we have about 15 or 20 of them operating. They always fluctuate. They come on the air and they disappear again. But perhaps we have more radio stations than any other country in the region. They say if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Democracy is something that we must participate in. So we must speak. We must be respectful. We must come up with suggestions and we must speak. During the campaign, the National Democratic Congress offered newness. They offered newness. And they presented simple. Yesterday, somebody asked me, why is it talking about the National Democratic Congress so much? And I started to explain to them why. So I will not go back on the important point I make, which is the most fundamental of all of them. That one of the reasons I speak about the NDC so much, because the NDC is this NDC, in this period, is the first political party in Grenada, post the revolution, that incorporate victimization as part of the modus operandi. And I am totally against it. I object it with all passion that I have. So that is one of the reasons. But there are other reasons, fundamental reasons. The government claimed that it was not, the pension issue is a big issue in Grenada. After the court action, the government then claimed that it was not going to challenge it in court. And they wait till the 14 or 21 days pass. And they repeated, we are not challenging it in court. But the grandeur, the quantum of money involved, the sustainability, we need to have discussion with the unions. So the government sent out an olive branch and invited the union to discuss the issue. The National Democratic Congress and said, we will pay. So the union did not go to the government for the discussion. The government established a broad-based committee. I did not hear anybody challenge the members of the committee, so I'm assuming they are men of good reputation and knowledge in this area. But the government said they will pay. The previous government lodged in Parliament for the first reading a bill for the decriminalization, liberalization, or legalization of marijuana. After you lodge a bill in Parliament for the first reading, you expect all stakeholders to start discussing the issue and making contribution. The government, the NDC party then say, we will legalize weed. So there is no need for no consultation or nothing. We go legalize weed. The National Democratic Congress said, too much people on contract. You can't get a loan in the bank. The government is giving you contract to control you. So no more contract. We're going to appoint everybody in the public service. Even today, negotiation is going on among countries in the Caribbean to come up with a solution to solve the intra-island travel in the Caribbean. Very fragile. LIAT break up. BWIA break up. Jamaica Airways break up. All sort of models break up because they are not making money. It reached to a point that the inter-island travel in the Caribbean region is in serious jeopardy. So countries again is around the table discussing the issue. I don't know if Grenada was a part of the discussion. I expect them to be. But the NDC government make a declaration. If you don't settle this issue by December, we will rent to plane. Practically insulting the people who are negotiating. And you take a unanimous decision to rent to plane. When you say you rent to plane, you are not telling Grenadians that Grenada is forming an airway. So now we might have Carriacou, Pitimatnik, Carriacou, and Grenada Airways. So the other islands in the Caribbean must be so disturbed and distraught that Grenada seems to be thwarting the efforts of unity. That they must be waiting to see, well, we go have to join with Grenada. Grenada have money. You just establish an area. This is some of the concerns that people have with a new government. And they're right. Because none of the individuals in the government have experience with government. Some people say experience will come. But when you have 9 people running a country and all of them are juveniles, they're full of energy, they're exuberant, and they're arrogant and vindictive, I think it's important to open your mouth. I'm not hearing our economists. And I always say so much of individuals come out in university with a briefcase or certificate and they lack the ability to practicalize it. So on issues of Grenada starting an airway on its own should be serious discussion in every creek and corner in Grenada. You see, we had experience before. Bishop opened my airline, the Bantarante. Grenada couldn't buy more than 1 plane. At that time, the revolution didn't know about rent. Or maybe nobody decided to rent plane to them. So they buy a plane, the Bantarante. I don't know how much trips the Bantarante made, but I think it ended up on the airport in Antigua. And it constantly causing the government of Grenada to pay rent for the Bantarante. Yes, caller, welcome.
Punch, morning.
Yes,
afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, plane was missing in Grenada that Bishop had bought for the traffickers.
You talking about the Bantarante?
Yeah, where the plane gone?
I think the government sold the Bantarante.
Not a trace of funds in the
Well, the government didn't collect the money for the Bantarante.
So where that money gone?
They sold it, but they didn't collect the money.
That happened from 1984 to 89 somewhere there?
Yes, the government sold the Bantarante.
That was the name of the plane?
The Bantarante. But they didn't collect the money.
Right. So why?
Well, I guess one person sell it and one had to collect the money.
Wow. Mr. Pierre, that's bad business.
Well, that is why we need to talk about these new airways that the government planning to start again.
The new government?
You didn't hear they say they're going to plane?
Say that again?
You didn't hear the Deacon Mitchell's NDC government claim that at the end of December, if the Caribbean don't come up with the answer, Grenada is going to open airways?
So that's a good move?
Well, we should discuss it.
What do you think? I'm talking about airwave, Mr. Pierre, and plane and travel. Don't you think that the Paul's Airport should be up and running together with the...
You don't even have plane to run in Point Salin, you want to open Paul's? You don't have plane to run in Point Salin. You don't understand what they say.
Mr. Pierre, all this...
You don't hear... I wonder if you understand what they say. You don't have plane to come in Point Salin. What you talking about Paul's for?
Mr. Pierre, I have the itinerary in my possession now. Mr. Pierre, you have American Airlines coming 3 times a week. You have JetBlue coming in. You have a lot of planes coming to Grenada.
So that means you is well aware that the Grenada government is planning to start an airline on its own.
I don't see. I'm not aware of it. It's
Oh.
breaking news to me.
Well, that is the good purpose of listening to my program.
Yes.
You know, when I give you information, is tobacco well pressed?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah. So now, So now I'm telling you how the Bantarante end up.
Yeah.
So we sold the Bantarante,
Yes.
right? It so happened that the Ministry of Finance didn't collect no money for the Bantarante. And the government was very glad to get rid of the Bantarante.
Yeah.
So 3 things in motion there. We sold the Bantarante. The Ministry of Finance did not collect money for the Bantarante. And the government was very glad to get rid of the Bantarante.
But
Because and government spending money on the Bantarante with no hope.
But, Mr. Pierre, when you look at the past history and track record of government, I don't say one government. I'm not saying NFP, I'm not saying GLP, I'm not saying NDC. When you look at the track record, we have a problem in maintaining our resources, public resources.
We have not done a very, very good job in management.
For instance,
I think that's where the challenge we have.
For instance, you remember the NTS and the PTS we had in River Road there by Marketing Board parking there? All the buses used to be running and then they just pack them up there.
Well, they was not making money. Individual was driving the bus, they collecting the money, they not managing it. They say it's government owned.
But why we have this kind of mentality when it comes to public service and public utility vehicles and
The whole Caribbean is very weak where middle managers are concerned.
we need to change the culture.
Well, you see, our middle managers are very weak. And that's where the challenge is. We have to...
Mr. Pierre, I think that's where patriotism coming.
That have nothing to do with patriotism.
Mr. Pierre,
That have nothing to do with patriotism.
Mr. Pierre, if you have a house and government have a entity, you have your house, I think you should treat both entity like it's your own, Not only
But
your house.
government house is not mine.
So you won't treat it.
Oh, I could treat government house as me own. I keep for government house.
So you're
You have to
gonna
drop the key in the police station.
But you don't think it's the right to take care of the government building?
Of
like
course,
how-
they got the managers, you see, caller. The people who manage is responsible for management. We want to blame everybody.
But it's a teamwork.
No. Manager is not no teamwork.
Look at
Management
the
is
stadium.
management.
Look at the cricket stadium they built for 2007 World Cup when all the teams was there. Look at how the building run down, Mr. Pierre.
I say to you, caller, the people who go in and look at cricket is not them that managing the stadium. If you have chaos in your house, you responsible. You're the manager, not your wife. You responsible. You're supposed to be the manager.
Mr. Pierre, I remember in 1983 to 79. Mr. Pierre, people was more community oriented. People was more patriotic. People was looking out for Grenada.
I don't agree with you at all, caller.
You don't think so?
No, between 1979 to 1983, there is no measurement, there are no yardstick, there is no method we use to determine whether people were more patriotic. Remember,
There's evidence. to-
caller, remember 3,000 people, they put them in jail.
Senator,
They put 3,000 people in jail.
But Mr. Pierre, anytime I bring up that discussion, that topic, that's all you talk about, the people in jail. We have to look at the good.
Well,
We have to look
caller,
at
don't
the
finish
bad.
it. Don't run. Caller.
I know, I don't run.
Don't follow up on me. Me and you in a good discussion now.
Yeah.
You say in 79 to 83, people was more patriotic.
Yes.
And I disagree with you, so I should tell you why I disagree. Remember, the revolution was a new idea. A lot of people was very excited about the revolution. In addition to that, Maurice Bishop was a great orator. And he had charisma. And people love him dearly. A number of young people had guns in their hand for the first time. And they were empowered. So when the revolution come to you and ask you to come in a mass organization in a group, and you refuse to go, they accuse you for being a counter-revolutionary. And if you say you wasn't going loud, then tomorrow you had to be on the boat going in Trinidad.
Yeah?
Grenada lost about 3,000 to 4,000 people within the 4.5 years left Grenada. Over 3,000 was in prison. And during the 4.5 years, the revolution supervised over the worst crime in society after slavery and colonialism. So how we could say people was more patriotic?
Yes,
We castrate people. We
Pierre.
take out people's toenail.
Mr. Pierre,
Yeah.
let's not forget, on a weekend, there were community work being done, Mr. Pierre. I was a young man at the time.
Yeah, but them fellas had guns?
No, I didn't think so. They were forced to do that?
Yes, there was the inflammatory nature of the gun hold people into mass organization.
So, Mr. Pierre, the ACP program, the Adult Continuing Program, was forced by people where you educate people at...
Caller,
Yes.
a man volunteered me to teach. He volunteered me to teach in 2 places at the same time. 9 o'clock in the morning. One volunteered me to teach. I said, you cannot volunteer me. I'm not volunteering. The head of my department called me down and said, go and teach. So I was teaching in Maribor Agriculture Training School and Boulong Agriculture Training School.
Yeah.
And they volunteer me. I have no problem in teaching. But if I resisted, I might end up in jail.
I don't think so, Mr. Pierre.
Well, you don't have to think so. Caller, I ain't tongue long.
I know that.
So when you're talking about the revolution, you have to be careful. I ain't tongue long.
Mr. Pierre, I have a document here I wanted to read out for you, but I don't find it at the moment, Mr. Pierre.
Anytime you do. Anytime you do.
I get it, I will call you back sometime again.
Yeah, you could call me back or you could post it to me and I'll read it and we could discuss it.
Yeah, the revolution had a lot of good for Grenada.
There was a lot of, and this is what blind us. Caller, this is what blind us about the revolution. Yeah. So that I like to ask the comrades, if the end justify the means. Yes, the revolution had a positive. When you go out of Grenada, Grenada was well respected internationally based upon what Maurice Bishop advocated.
Yes.
So we were well respected.
Yes.
But in Grenada, we have to ask if the end justify the means. Caller, when you go to a community and you pass around with a mic and say, come and hear what the revolution had in store for you, and the community center full up, and then people notice, the people outside, notice that PRA started to guard the windows, and they start to bawl outside, and then the revolution called out 100 and something people names, and they had to go to a truck to go in jail.
Yeah. So, Mr. Pierre, I do agree with you. There was flaws in the revolution.
This wasn't flaws. This was political crime.
But that was the politics of the day.
Well, no, but that doesn't mean he was right.
I'm not saying he's right.
That is why I ask, did the end justify the means?
But yes, but you keep concentrating on the 3,000 people that was jailed. But Mr. Pierre, hold on. Let me just...
So why you going to do the 3,000? You don't talk about it.
Mr. Pierre, listen. Yeah. During the role of the PRG, Grenada achieved progress in many areas, including but not limited to, Mr. Pierre, listen, women's rights, education, housing, health and the economy. By the end of the Gary regime, the economy was experiencing negative growth per capita income and was falling. When PRG came to power, however, this quickly changed and the economy began to experience modest growth. Listen that, Mr. Pierre. I won't go further, but listen that. The World Bank noted that it had been one of the very few countries in the Western Hemisphere that continued to experience per capita growth in 1981. According to, listen to the economists who speak here, according to Payne, Sutton, and Thorndike, GDP per capita almost doubled from 1978 to 1983 now. Income tax was also abolished for 30% of the lowest paid workers. Listen, unemployment was also sharply reduced from 49% in 1979 to 14% in 1983 at a time when most other countries in the region had an unemployment rate of 20 to 30%, Mr. Pierre. The number of doctors also increased from 1 per 4,000, Mr. Pierre, in 1979 to 1 per 3,000 in 1982, Mr. Pierre.
Where they got them doctors?
Huh?
Where they got them doctors?
Mr. Pierre.
In 1982. That was 2 years of the revolution. You trained the doctors.
Mr. Pierre, listen. Infant mortality rate was reduced from 29 to 14.8, and literacy rate increased from 85% in 1979 to 1981. Mr. Pierre, the information are there.
Caller, I'm not going to challenge you. Did the end justify the means? Remember, 7,000 people left Grenada, 3,000 in jail, 4,000 run. The labor force dropped immediately by 7,000.
Mr. Pierre, but look at the facts. I read it out here.
Well, you read the facts and I'm not taking issue with your facts. I'm telling you why that happened. If you jail 3,000 people and 3,000 to 4,000 run, they out of the labor market, the labor force could drop to 14%.
But anyway, you have political instability at the time, Mr. Pierre. You will find that.
But did you agree for the revolution to jail 3,000 people?
But at the time, maybe it should. What happened at the time?
And that is why I'm speaking now about this present situation. The government is using victimization as the order of the day, and that is wrong.
Yeah,
and because of the experience I have in the revolution, I am going to speak out on it. It is not correct for the government to be firing people simply because of the color they wear.
I understand.
And they're employing people simply because of the color they wear. It's not right. When you come in rural communities, well, you reach in Pauls now. When you come in rural communities and you fire 6 women, you know we're not talking about man. Mm-hmm. The men have an answer. They either run, leave the country, leave Pauls, go and get a woman and go up and licks it. Go in the shop and drink rum. But when you fire 6 women in one small community, these women work 9, 10, 12 years. What is the impact? And what crime these women do? You say that they're green. Or they're green. Them is an NP. They're green.
But at the end of the day, Mr. Pierre, I think we all are Grenadians.
But the National Democratic Congress don't know that.
But NMP do the same thing when they were...
No, caller. They never do that. And then, caller. Yesterday I was speaking to a guy and I find out he was listening to one radio personality. The NNP never do that.
There was a young lady, Mr. Pierre, in your area up there that make a statement in an Imani program, and she was fired, sent home.
Caller, investigate the case.
Huh?
They never did that. You're talking about a particular incident, and I'm telling you that was never done. The NDC is the first government, caller, the first government after the revolution that is using victimization as a policy of the government.
And I'm glad you make mention.
This thing is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
We go talk on
but we have to continue our discussion.
Yes, we will.
We have to.
Mr. Pierre, have a nice day.
Yes, my brother, good.
One love.
All governments in Grenada have been accused of showing political favoritism in terms of employment. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Pierre.
Yeah.
I have a criticism on you.
Go right ahead, caller.
You say about how much people was jailed in the revolution.
3,000.
But yes, but this 2,000 was non-productive.
Yeah, but 3,000.
Man who living in the bush, man who line them kind of things and them, and you're trying to put on the revolution. It wasn't productive.
So you jail them because they're not productive.
Negative thing, and if that's going on today, all these people are making this stupidness. They will not be making that stupidness.
You jailing them too?
Yes, because they bring no facts.
But give them a chance to defend themselves in the court.
Chance to do what? To throw me out?
Well, then that means use judge, juror, and executioner.
You have to be, when you make a statement, you have to have facts.
Well,
don't come and say that the government doing that.
Caller, you could ask Mr. Tillman Thomas to tell you the number is more than 3,000. that went in
They
jail.
was non-productive.
So you jailing them for being non-productive?
All who you talk the speakers was there.
Tillman Thomas was there. Leslie Pierre,
During the
Lloyd
revolution
Noel,
time,
Kenny Lal
during the
Singh.
revolution time, you had the most industrial thing going on.
So-
We're making nectar.
All
making
these people,
smokery,
you
we making
saying,
all kind of thing with
you
your
saying Kenny Lal Singh was unproductive? Lloyd Noel was
in
unproductive.
the politics portion, in the politics.
Kennedy Boudlal was. What's about them Rasta and they go quiet in the woods and pick them up and jail them?
And they're living in the primitive stage.
And they shoot Mackenzie and they say he leap. You forget
And we
it?
was more productive, but we was more productive without them.
And then, so you want to
We was
jail?
more productive. The revolution was producing more without them.
But what is it charge? What was it charged then? What you charge them
Propaganda
for?
without facts.
And you castrate the broker?
So,
And they jail Fargo? And they take out them policemen
Fargo was
toenail?
too foolish.
Huh?
Fargo was too foolish.
Well, he listened
Last
to
week,
Bishop
Mr.
tell him
Pierre,
to.
let me tell you.
But
let me
Bishop
tell
tell him
you
plant
what
weed.
happening again last week when Friday I went. The police car going up. He stopped I will tell you where, by wherever was there.
On the drug.
Opposite banks.
Yeah, on the drug.
See a man take out a city and smoke weed and he's showing the police are smoking weed. What respect is that?
Well,
you couldn't do that in the revolution. You're getting locked up because you're totally disrespectful. You have nothing else going to court. You have to go and spend time, paying cash, and plant cabbage, build fall.
And give them poke to it. They were outside, give them poke.
Yes, because you're disciplined. You have no right to show the police that. When you take out the weed and you show the police are smoking weed.
Well,
In the street, you know. I'll lock you up.
you locking him up for that?
Yes, you are not going to no trial with that.
But what's about human rights?
So is it right to disrespect the police in the public?
But
Is right?
you don't feel all men supposed to get a fair trial?
So you don't find the police supposed to have you have giving the police a fair trial by giving smoke, showing me smoking weed?
Well, then the police had to bring you to court.
Court for what?
No
Prove
court.
what? To prove what?
You
Who? And I see you and you show me you're smoking weed, and you see the policeman, you see me with the police uniform, man, you're going to jail immediately.
Well, thank God we have democracy now. And we have a lot of radio station. And we have social media. So you can't jail us.
Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, brother. It was a good discussion with you.
Nice, man.
Yes, thank you. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, my brother.
good afternoon.
Good.
Mr. Pierre, I was part of the revolution, right? And what you say there is quite true, because I had access to dealing with the detainee while I was a Pierre. Because you see sometimes, even some of the soldiers, sometimes you might go down the street and hear something. And if you come back and say what you hear, they also call you a counter as a member of the People Revolutionary Army. You know, sometimes you hear something and you may want to see what you hear, right? And when you look, people were afraid to speak. And even a lot of people, can see a lot of people may join the PR, they join other groups. You have to ask the question, why they join it? Because they may join, some of them join it because they were fair, and they even join the different organization that fair may gone. So they join because they were fair. And I know I have friends, if the revolution they last about next 2 months, they would have joined it. Because every day they're afraid that the revolution, the PR will come for them. No, because see, sometimes you have to look at the good and the bad. You cannot look at only at one side and say it was a success. Because sometimes a success is come, like let's say like, if when you check on the positive might be about 95%, and the bad might be about 65. Okay, but when you say 65, it may be the success, and 65 might be the negative, and next 35 might be the positive. I won't call it success. I'm saying again, when you look, I remember in 2008, it was thought after NMP came into government for the last nine years. You know, I know from the time NMP came into office, radio station was there long basin. And I can't remember there was anyone that was threatened of voicing opinion about the government. But right now, if you may walk in the street and may saying things about this government, you have to fight. You have to know what to speak because you go to me as a green. And if you walk in, you may end up losing your work. And I believe everyone have a right. Everyone has a right to speak what they're on their mind. And what you say, it doesn't matter. I always say, it doesn't matter you hate someone, but you hate the thing what the person doing to others. And it's your duty and your right to speak about the injustice that is taking place. Right? So the one to speak is for whosoever in authority to change your ways and do what is right for all Grenadians.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you, Carla. But we must, nobody prevents anybody from expressing themselves in Grenada. I've not heard anybody try to prevent people from expressing themselves. But when you have a program, a talk show program, you have to be tolerant to the views of people who perhaps don't want you to say what you want to say. You have to give them an opportunity to express themselves. And once we be respectful, we should try to do that. This is the month of October. This is the month of the Rosary. So Catholic and Christian should be praying the Rosary every day, praying for the children, praying for the government, because this is one of the rituals that Christianity offer you. Always pray for the government. So you pray for the king, you pray for the prime minister, you pray for the ministers, you pray for the opposition leader. You pray for your parents in the house, and you pray with your children. October, we have a call on the line. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
You think a line is a kite? Mr. Pierre, a line is not a kite, you know. All you have to get is two little piece of paper and some starch. And you go on you strip your mother bed sheet, and you make a tail in her. And you fly kite in her.
You don't think government in this point in time have the necessary money to open an airline on their own?
On their own?
That is what the deacon seems to be implying.
Well,
he says go rent to plane.
The deacon they call him deacon. A deacon is one in the church that after the priest, you know.
That is an ordained one. This is an elected deacon, not an ordained deacon.
That kind of language.
When in the church, you have to be ordained as a deacon. But this one is the Prime Minister of Grenada. And he seems matter of fact on it. He said we could just rent two planes.
Yeah,
so that means he's opening an airline. Because if you have two planes, you must have an airline. You have to have pilots and you have to meet international standards. So the question is whether Grenada at this time could afford to run an airline effectively and profitably. Or even though there is it is not profitable, we could be able to sustain the loss. And we must be discussing that issue.
That's what we have to discuss.
Yeah.
That's what we have to discuss. Not them costing and want to fight.
No. It's good discussion. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. And this month of October is also an important month in our history. That is the month when the Prime Minister and some members of his cabinet was executed. That is the very month when children, students and others went into demonstration, went where the Prime Minister was held up, release him and bring him on Fort George. I think it's Fort George. They make a stage for him to speak in the market, but Comrade Bishop went on the fort. Call on the line, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. As we celebrate this month as Child Month.
That is Child Month too?
Child Month, yeah, I think October month.
So Child Month, month of Rosary, month of Invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
I want everyone to respect the child, love the child, and let us consider all child important. Just how our child or our children is important, let us consider other people's children as important. And let us treat every child as a child. And let us respect them. Because some of we elders have the concept that children have to respect, but we have to respect children. We have to respect the smallest person. When we respect, we get respect. And as parents, we have to let the children know. When they walk in, the relationship people, say good morning to them. Say good morning and encourage them to respect those in authority. That's my piece.
Yes, so it's an important period. So because this month is so significant, you're going to constantly hear it punctuated with issues of the revolution. And let me say to individual, when you speak in politics in Grenada, 3 names you're going to hear popping up relentlessly is Eric Gary, Maurice Bishop, and Kit Mitchell. These 3 individuals are the 3 most impactful politicians in Grenada in the last 100 years. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre?
Yes, my brother.
Morning, how are you?
Great, man.
Right. Now, let me ask you something. Okay. Sorry about that. You there?
Go right ahead.
Right. Revolution. Are you against revolution per se? Yeah? No, I just want to.
You ask me this question. Revolution means change, dramatic change, and people make revolution in their life. One of the problem with the Grenada Revolution was it was not necessary, it was not justified, it was not good, but it did good things. Okay. And I say to people constantly, when we discuss in the revolution, we must find out if the ends justify the means. We built an international airport. We had marketing board. The revolution had a good program in tertiary education. The revolution attempted adult literacy program. The revolution talked about nectar, etc., etc. But the revolution jailed 3,000 people.
Well, this is how it goes, Mr.
That is why I ask. That is why I constantly ask if the end justify the means.
Well, I would say that.
You can kill all your family just because you don't have money?
Well,
and say, okay, I have 9 children. I will execute 8. And I will keep my wife and 1 child.
Listen, the great China.
We're not the great China. The revolution jailed more people than Mao Zedong in China. You want to glorify the revolution without accepting the consequences.
Mr. Pierre, what Mao Zedong told the people, look, the revolution is on. I hear you say that one of the program, go and tell your plans, the revolution is on, and if they disagree, shoot them, kill them, you know.
Yeah, Mao Zedong kill them. But you're not Mao Zedong. You nice little Grenada, 110,000 people. You jail about 5% of the population. You know?
No, but listen, no.
No, man, that's all right.
No, but hold on. Mr. Pierre, listen, you there?
Yeah, man.
But listen, I don't really want.
Caller. Well, we lost it.
Yeah, all the Russian understand that. But throughout history, Mr. Pierre, all France...
Caller.
Mr. Pierre, well, why...
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, maybe there were kind of... Okay, maybe there was the kind of a misfortunate situation that went on in Grenada here, right? But what I'm maybe the leaders try to go overboard with certain issues, right? I agree, but Mr. Pierre, throughout history, revolution that all England, France, Germany, all US, I mean, them started people by millions, you know. What with them didn't attain power by no democratic means, you know, Mr. Pierre. But I'm not saying the jailing of the over 3,000 people here was right. I'm right. I'm not justifying.
You're saying it's justified. You're not right by justifying.
No. Hold on. I'm just saying that in these situations, there will be those that will fall through the cracks.
Okay.
Right? Listen, in these situations, you will find things in Russia, in China, in Cuba, in all these places in all them.
But we must talk about it. But we must talk about it.
No. But I'm just.
But we must talk about it.
Yes, but I'm just simply saying that you cannot, that you cannot get rid of these things. Mr. Pierre, when the hurricane comes, he go with the bad man house, he go with the good man house. It is not properly erected, right? And this is life, right? Okay. So and listen, and revolution could take place at in any country at any time. And you know why? You know why, Mr. Pierre? Because we are not fair and we are not just. We are human beings, right? We are not fair and we are not just, right? So as a result of these things, revolution is inevitable.
All right.
Right.
Thank you, Carla.
Respect.
Yeah, you see, we're in the month of October, and we must talk about it. I believe sometimes written history is people's story. Sometimes we forget the traditional fathers, the stories of the people in the community, Papa, who never write, who can't write, but they could only tell the stories. So then we go and read the stories in the book, but we never hear the other stories. And we're taking this last caller, and we're going to take two comments on social media. Yes, caller, welcome. You got a punch.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
Jailing people.
You have to raise your voice. We can't hear you.
Jailing people innocently can never be right. Doesn't matter which country did it. It's wrong. The revolution jailed a lot of people without trial, and that was wrong. And nothing that any caller say could be justified for what the revolution did. Right? And are you quite right that the revolution had some good things in it? It brought some good things, but we didn't really need the revolution. And secondly, I would say that the revolution, there was a lot of people who did things because they was frightened. I could testify to that. They didn't do it on their will in mind. They did it because they was frightened in the revolution. Right?
Yes, caller, thank you. And as we come to the end, thank you, caller. Yeah, we're going to read some comments from social media. We didn't have time to do it yesterday. And we're going to read a couple of them. This from Carrico. Well, Carrico in the house, and we welcome Carrico in the house. And it's very important because a number of people in Carrico now is affected. And we with you. We ain't backing down. We want the NDC government to cease and desist from firing, persecuting, and victimizing Green in Carrico. Rescind the letters, take back the people into work. You have no justification to fire them. And we go again, somebody saying the campaign on change, better Doc Mitchell, they stay there. Well, he didn't stay there, they vote him out. And this one, Carter, let out this deceitfulness. I think when Carter have to speak, the PM should check her speech. Well, I think the sister is true to herself. She has contribution to make, but she seems very weak with political moral virtue. Categorically unfolding some trending issues. Well done. This one from a Hudson judge. I think the NNP petitioned for us on rebranding instead of, he's saying the NNP party should be rebranding instead of criticizing the new NDC government. If the NNP keep to using on criticism too much, they will do their political organization as set backward. The same way the NDC wasted so much time in the past criticizing the NNP when the NNP was very popular than them. NNP needs to rebrand in order to make a difference at present time. Caller, in Grenada here, you're not hearing anything from NNP ministers. For the longest while, nobody hearing anything from NNP ministers. I, on my talk show, represent my own interests. And a lot of the comments you're hearing is not from NNP per se. It's just people who are concerned. I take particular interest in Carrico. I've worked in Carrico for many years and went on many occasions. And I in tongue long. And I know political victimization have serious consequences for our people. We have another comment. What was noteworthy about the AG comment, she said, let's be straight. So one can logically infer that it wasn't before the call for concern. I am the AG as a politician, and I understand she went with the flow. My biggest concern is the role played by the TUC. When the IMF and the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank come here, they have discussion with the trade unions. So the trade union know that the National Democratic Congress cannot make everybody permanent. They know that. Prior to the election, I've been expressing my concern on who is the labor advisor to the NDC when I heard the outrageous claims. But it worked. The ordinary man believed that the NDC going to make them permanent. And they told them they wouldn't fire you. We will make you permanent. You were able to go in the bank and get a loan. They said they're going to pay twice a month. And people believe they will get double salary. And they never explained it. They knew a number people, unsuspecting Grenadians, believed the NDC was offering them a double salary rather than paying them twice a month. But they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. All problems in Grenada are solved now. You ain't here in economics, you ain't here in union, you don't hear in church leaders. You don't have to hear the church leaders. All the political leaders go to church. All the NNP and the NDC is church people. So the church pastor or the priest ought to speak again, because all of them are church people. And we have freedom of the press, and people are free to express themselves, and we always give them an opportunity on our program to punch. Thank you very much.
United as one.